All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. I was watching the Elder Manak Zakba's video earlier, where this female was saying, y'all need to apologize to them Hebrew Israelites, because she's probably seeing, the things that we've been speaking about, coming to pass, as Babylon the Great, aka America, continue to collapse and crumble. These people, the people's reality will soon sink in, man. That the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are faithful and true. We're telling the people that this place is going to be destroyed. Martial law is coming. The mark of the beast is coming. And you got many doubters. That the chariots of the Lord are so-called UFOs. Which are showing themselves more often now. And these people are seeing that the things that we're saying are becoming reality. Or have been reality, but they are just realizing it. And the apostles and elders have been saying these things for decades. So we're gonna get some scriptures, and just go with it, flow in the spirit. But this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." And this is speaking of the time to come, where it's going to be like the purge around here, man. If anybody's seen that movie, all out chaos, military control areas, certain areas that you can go in, a lot of restricted areas, mass chaos, no protection from the so-called police, firemen, just all out chaos, and this is where we're headed, but it says, but he shall be saved out of it, and this is speaking of the elect, man. First and foremost, the 144,000, men that have been set up to govern, the kingdom to come. First and foremost, but the Lord is going to look out for his elect. It's going to be so bad out here. You're going to have Yahweh Shem Yahushai on your side, man, to make it out, to even have a chance. So these people are seeing what's going on around the nation, around the world, seeing that liberty's being stripped, and some people are cool with it based on who's in control of the political parties, the presidency. They're giving up their rights, man. Edomites used to fight for their rights, but now they're just laying down. They've been conditioned, brainwashed into thinking that they have a place here, that this place is going back to how it used to be, where the Edomites could do whatever they wanted to do, kill, steal, rob, whatever. They think it's going back to those days, which they're sadly mistaken, But, hey, man, these women, they're going to be, looking for shelter, man, looking for a place of safety. And the only place of safety for these people, mainly these women, are going to be with the man of the Lord, So let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 13. And let's see, verse 12. Salakia. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 12. And it says, "I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir." Because men with integrity, men that truly follow the Lord, will be slim to none in the days to come. But these are the only men that's gonna have protection from the Lord. The Lord is gonna watch out for them, man. In the time of trouble, and the masses of the people are gonna see this. Like it's something definitely different about those people, man. The evils that we're suffering, they're not suffering like we are. So people are gonna naturally gravitate to safety. Like I said, mainly the women. But, you still gonna have certain men out here looking for answers too. So a man of the Lord is gonna be more precious than fine gold. Because men are gonna be looking for answers too. But the women are definitely gonna be looking for safety, man. As it is. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1. Like you got Bishop Nate saying this is going to take place in the kingdom of heaven, which is totally insane. It says, the book of Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1, it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So the women are going to be looking for shelter, looking for, you're going to have women looking for love in those days, man. So it's going to be a great humbling coming to this place, and the men of the Lord will be proven right. These people still had that proud spirit upon them in the wake of the collapse of this place. These people still have a proud spirit on them. Just saw a video that the brother did, had this Jake speaking of all these women out here selling themselves cheap, for $1, sleeping around with any and everybody and flaunting on TikTok and Instagram like they just got it going on, man. But they just selling their body, sleeping with anybody for anything, man. This is where we are, man. And it's a proud, arrogant spirit on these people to partake in things like that, man. If you scroll Instagram and you click on somebody's profile, even if it's a so-called nice looking girl, with modest pictures, you click on their profile and their link, it's an OnlyFans page, man. It's like everybody is selling themselves for cheap, all for $1. But that just shows you the state that we're in, man. At an all-time low. And these women are looking for easy money, because they're caught up in the material things. But it's gonna become a day to where these things won't even matter, man. Their little vagina ain't even gonna matter, man. Little stanky vagina ain't even gonna matter, man. Those are the days to come. What are you gonna do when your looks fade? What do you have to offer, man? But this lesson is not really, it's not about women. It's about the men of the Lord being proven right. Like the Eve said in the video, y'all apologize to them Hebrew Israelites. And why is this? Because the things that we're saying are coming to pass. So let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14. And we're going to start from the top. And the heading says, the Lamb and the 44,000 on Mount Zion. It says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, which is this is speaking of our Lord Yahweh Shai. He's the Lamb. It says, with him 144,000 having the Father's name written in their foreheads. And this is speaking of the elect men that will govern the kingdom to come, the New Jerusalem, the kingdom of heaven, that will be here on earth. Just imagine how it is now. But you're going to have 144 elite men governing the world, enforcing the laws of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. No wickedness throughout the earth, man. We can't even imagine that right now. But that's what's going to take place. It says, I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard a voice of harpers harping with their harps. Verse 3, it says, and they sung a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And that new song, really consists of the gospel, man. Now, as of now, we're singing a new song, letting the people know what's to come, the kingdom of heaven and how glorious it is going to be. With the rulership of the 144,000, starting with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. It's going to be beautiful, man. Not this like this decrepit place. Hey, everything you pass now, unless you in an exclusive neighborhood with a lot of money, man. If you in a so-called middle class neighborhood these days, man, everything is dilapidated, man, falling apart. You ride past gas stations, they look abandoned. You ride past restaurants, most of them look abandoned, like nobody's taking care of this stuff. So this place is on the way out. And hey, man, we're just preaching the kingdom to come. Singing this new song of what's to come. It says, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So these are the men out here sighing and crying for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and hey, out on the highways and hedges, preaching the word, following Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, to the best of our abilities, not swaying, to assimilate ourselves in this world. Lord willing, I'm one of those men. But, just going against the grain, man, going against our number one foe, Esau, Edom, because we're standing up for the Lord, man. We're standing up for Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his word. It says, these are they which were not defiled with women, and this is speaking of Esau, Edom's policies, philosophies, the ways of the world, the ways of Esau, Edom, the wickedness of Esau, Edom, selling your soul, so to speak, selling your body, selling out, all to make a place here in Babylon the Great, which is going to be destroyed anyway. So we're looking towards that eternal life, that eternal kingdom. And we know we're going to have to suffer now, but our reward is great. Our reward is going to be great. The 144,000's reward will be great. So great that you can't even imagine. It says, for they were virgins. These were they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Following Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. Everything he says, if the Lord said don't eat pork, don't shave your head, don't mar the corners of your head, don't get a line up. These things are things that are very, easy to do, man. But you're still gonna have those rebellious people out here that don't want to do it. You bring up the point, something simple like don't eat pork, man. The Lord said don't eat pork. Then these people say, well, chicken, they nasty too. They unclean. Hey, what did the Lord say, man? Are we to believe you or are we to believe Yahweh Shem Yahushua? So you're gonna have rebellious people out here that's gonna regret it. And once their times, of trouble comes, they're gonna they're gonna be apologizing, man. Begging, looking for answers. So it says, these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. The first fruits. These are the first spirits, created to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua and worship Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. And these first fruits, the spirits of these men, have been recycled throughout the earth. Recycled over decades, centuries. since the beginning of time, and they're here now, preaching the word and standing stiffly for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And verse 5 says, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And if you go into this word guile, it's going into craftiness, big deceiving, So when it comes to pass that no guile will be found in the 144,000 the elect men's mouths, that's been preaching the word, doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. These people are going to see it, and they're going to understand that it wasn't a lie, that it wasn't deceit, that it wasn't craftiness. It was all the truth, So it's going to be more and more people apologizing as this place collapse, as Esau Edom's continue to come down, as let's get it. The book of Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12 says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, because this man, everything this man touched, whether it be land or sea, suffers, and it's going to continue that way as this place continue to crumble. It says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. So, this devil that's being spoken of is Esau Edom, so-called white man. Make no mistake about it. He is the devil. He is the one that pollutes the earth. He is the one that pollutes the air. He is the one that pollutes the water. He is the one that pollutes the food. So you can't make no mistake about it, man. This man is your enemy, and he's the wicked of the earth. So, it's gonna be more and more people apologizing. We just gotta stand stiffly for the Lord, man, and continue to preach this word, bring out this truth all the way into the end. So with that being said, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.